Released in February of 1992, SAP is Alice in Chains' first acoustic EP release, and would be followed up by 1994's acoustic EP Jar of Flies. The EP was recorded over a 4 to 5 day period in November of 1991 with producer Rick Parashar at London Bridge Studio in Seattle, Washington, the same place the band would record their Jar of Flies EP. SAP contains 4 tracks: Brother, Got Me Wrong, Right Turn, and Am I Inside. And in addition, you have the hidden track, Love Song. SAP is certified gold for the sale of more than 500,000 copies.
You know, putting out that first EP was a really bold move, and it was really consequential to do that. Not because it was a huge success, because it wasn't. It became one later on, but what it did was open up the playing field for us. It made it acceptable for us early on in our career to basically do whatever the we wanted to do,
exactly,
instead of just have to be a hard heavy band all the time.
Following the tour for Facelift, Alice in Chains' 1990 debut, the band entered the studio to record a song for the Cameron Crowe movie, Singles, and that song was Wood. So as you hear from Jerry Cantrell here, the version of the song Wood that ended up on the Singles soundtrack, and of course on their 1992 Dirt album, was recorded at the same time they made the SAP EP.
But we had all this other around, like some acoustic stuff and just whatever, and we recorded it all. So they gave us money to record Wood for real. But what we did, we used that same money to record all this other that we had, and a lot of it was acoustic stuff.
Oh, okay.
You know, we were like, I don't know that we were really thinking about putting it out. But
let me just make sure I understand. So the Wood that ended up in the soundtrack of Singles.
And on Dirt.
Right, and Dirt, which is the same version.
Yeah, same version.
The 4 or 5 songs
from SAP
were recorded at the same...
From that session.
Got it, okay, that I didn't know.
Lead vocalist Layne Staley encouraged guitarist Jerry Cantrell to sing lead vocals on the EP. It was the first time Cantrell had sung lead vocals on an Alice in Chains release. He sings lead on the track Brother, and he splits the lead vocals with Staley on Got Me Wrong. And this formula of splitting the vocals between Staley and Cantrell would be employed by the band for future Alice in Chains releases. The EP features guest vocals by Ann Wilson from the band Heart, who joined vocalist Layne Staley and guitarist Cantrell for the choruses of Brother and Am I Inside. It also features Mark Arm of Mudhoney and Chris Cornell of Soundgarden, who appeared together on the song Right Turn. Comically, that track is credited to Alice Mudgarden in the liner notes. Regarding the lyrical content, Cantrell said he wrote Brother about his relationship with his younger brother. The song specifically refers to the period after Cantrell's parents divorced, when his younger brother went off to live with his father while he stayed with his mother, and Cantrell said that the song was a way of trying to build a bridge. Commenting on Got Me Wrong, Cantrell said he wrote the song about a relationship where one person thinks he or she can change the other person, and added that the song speaks of the different ways that men and women see each other. Another little-known fact may be that a version of the song Rooster was recorded during the sessions for SAP and was intended to be included on the EP, but the band then decided to use the song on their second full-length album Dirt instead. In February of 1992, Alice in Chains released SAP, and the band did not want any ads or promotion for the EP. They just put it in the stores to see if people would buy it.
And so when we had this EP idea, they were cool with it too, because we had gone through it, the record had been successful, and then it was going to be a while we went through a writing process to get to Dirt, right? And we had this thing, and we're like, you know what? Let's not even advertise this thing. Let's just put it in the stores just for the fans and for people to stumble across. No ads, no nothing, no press. And they're like, we love it. It's great. But it was kind of a cool little, like an Easter egg for people to find.
But then it ended up having a one or two hits on it.
It did thanks to Kevin Smith. It was in Clerks, and Got Me Wrong kind of became a hit a little bit later. It was just kind of a gamble. I'm so glad that we did that because
it set a wider playing field.
It widened the fucking field for us, you know.
The track Got Me Wrong, which was released as a single, became a hit after its inclusion on the soundtrack to the 1994 film Clerks. The EP was also released in a limited edition double vinyl along with Jar of Flies. Jar of Flies was on sides 1 and 2, and SAP was on side 3. The cover art and title for the EP came from a dream from drummer Sean Kinney.
And Sean, during the process of working on these songs, Sean had a dream that we had recorded these songs, and since they were a little bit milder than the rest of our material, in his dream the record was called Sap because it was sappy, you know? And the cover of the album and everything was in his dream, so basically he told us the dream, we said, it sounds like a cool idea, and tried to, recreate it as well as we could to what he told us. So it was a kind of cool thing.
As of now, I think you got me wrong. So SAP, released in '92, was something a bit different for the band. They had already released their hard and heavy rock record, their debut with Facelift, back in 1990. But as you heard Jerry Cantrell mention there before, they wanted to come at it from a bit of a different angle and not pigeonhole themselves into anything. And they just wanted to be free to do whatever they wanted to do, and out of that came SAP. So you got the 4 tracks and the bonus track on the EP. And talking about that bonus track, Love Song, Jerry Cantrell actually described that as the most bizarre song that the band had ever recorded. It was Sean Kinney's idea, and all the members switched instruments in the recording. You got Layne Staley, he's playing drums, Cantrell, he's playing the bass, and Sean Kinney sings and plays piano, and Mike Starr plays guitar. I would actually love to see a clip of that, if that existed, and that would be funny to watch. So that hidden track is just kind of all over the place, and just kind of a whole bunch of fun, you might say. Classic Alice in Chains, goofing off and being funny as they do. But the 4 main tracks that they have on this EP are top-notch, totally awesome songs, especially with Brother and Got Me Wrong. Both of these songs would be performed on Chain's 1996 MTV Unplugged set and sounded totally awesome there as well. Then you got a real cool collaboration on track 3, Right Turn. You got Chris Cornell coming in there from Soundgarden, of course, and Mark Arm from Mudhoney. And it's just kind of cool having all those guys together on that track and having all those bands collaborating like that. And of course, credited there as Alice Mudgarden, so that's funny stuff too. And you have that mellow, haunting Alice in Chains sound with track 4, Am I Inside, so it's a really nice collection of songs there, all in all. So SAP, the band's debut acoustic EP, they mashed it in between their 2 juggernaut albums of Facelift and Dirt, and of course followed it up in '94 with Jar of Flies. Just shows you how diverse and really creative the band was, the different way that they saw things and how to go about releasing their music. I mean, you just didn't see big, heavy rock bands at that time coming out with quiet acoustic EPs. It just wasn't happening, so Chains were really pioneers of that sort of thing.